Hi, I want to share an experience I had um, in the astro, maybe. This is all new to me, and I am sharing. Perhaps there will be parts to it, perhaps there is more developing, but I have noticed in the last few nights there has been some prophetic revelations, some information, some teachings going on, and also bring the awareness that when you are becoming more of an alchemizer of energy, you will be learning knowledge from your sleep state. It's almost like you've had a whole night of conversation with a being, with a guide, and they're teaching you about concepts. For example, the last week I've been having lots of concepts about resentment, the different layers of resentment, how it plays on people's subconscious. And on a day-to-day basis, I've been shown it's almost like being able to see through myself and people and situations in deeper layers than I ever been before, but all themed around resentment. And of course, through that, I see through my own resentment. And then I go through healing, but the healings are, I don't call them dark night of the soul anymore. Definitely not. The healing are subtle, gentle, easy, effortless, very energetic, simple, easy. As before, it was all that density coming out of your body, and you're feeling uncomfortable and you're feeling ill. And the way your mind plays with you and gets you in a self-guilt, in a self-blame, and there's nothing of that anymore. It's a whole different way I've been healing lately, and I'm sure everyone is going through this as well. And I feel that the people that are looking within themselves now, as of now, are being helped with these energies coming to Earth so much that they're not needing to go through a dark night of the soul. They're not needing to go through pain and hell and re-triggering. Even reviewing trauma doesn't seem to be difficult and painful, and and suffering. And this is what the message has come through today. Basically, that we are being encouraged to go through our dualities, to go through a polarities, the polarities that people are showing to you about yourself, the polarities that you've seen about yourself, and really go through them fearlessly with no fear, because these energies are here to really alchemize that fear. But you have to show that fear. You can't not hide that fear. If you hide that fear from yourself, you're hiding it from the universe, you're hiding it from these energies that are coming to assist. And the universe is asking to jump in a deep end, to really look at the trauma that is coming up. There's a memory that came up from childhood. Look into it, dig into it, ask questions. Don't be afraid, because the minute you show your fear, these energies are going to alchemize the fear. It's going to eliminate the fear, and you'll be able to see through it, almost like being a therapist for yourself. Yeah, of course there'll be emotions, of course there'll be energetic sensations, of course there'll be a bit of a cry, there'll be emotions, but it won't be suffering, it won't be painful. It will be like having realizations and being able to work with it straight away. And this is the speed of what we're dealing with these energies, the assistance that these energies are bringing to us. And the way I saw my message today was very different than I have been in the past. I usually wake up, open my eyes, and I have a message in my head. I have a concept. Or sometimes I'll remember perhaps I don't know if it's in a dream, but it feels like I've had a conversation with someone about a concept, and that concept then is shown to me throughout the day. I don't necessarily understand as soon as I get up, but then it's shown through me through the day. And this is how I keep popping these messages here and there. I write it down and I pop it in on Facebook. I don't know who they're for. A lot of them are for me. A lot of them are my own realizations, but it's also collective. But this time I had a shift from, which I've learned recently from a friend, is a twilight state where you're just about coming back from the astral and twilight before you wake up. And I've noticed I was feeling a burning sensation in my navel chakra, and as I was coming back around to waking up, and it was not comfortable. It wasn't painful, but it was not comfortable. And I couldn't understand. And then eventually I realized that as I was coming down from the astral, I was coming through the collective grid, and perhaps feeling all the collective grid density through my body. Or maybe I was coming down too fast into a wake state. I still not 100% sure, but what I understand from this, what happened tonight, is I was in the astral and I was waking up and I was able to bring myself up to the astral. And I know a lot of people astral travel, they have this really amazing ability to move through these dimensions really quickly. But it's not something that I see, it's just something that I sense. And I was able to somewhat go back, and when I went back, I received the message, and then I woke up. And the message was the sense, almost like a sense vision, but not a clear vision, of me going through and pushing through these dualities of myself and all these polarities, really pushing through, and there was no fear. And if there's any fear, it was taken care of, and I kept going. And as I kept going, I got to a center space, and everything around it was collapsing and literally disappearing. But it was a good collapse. It was a necessary collapse. It was a collapse to then bring myself back into the center, into union. And then I felt the divine, I felt the light, I felt the energy. And it wasn't separate from me. It was me and the divine, but the same. And it was beautiful. And it was a beautiful state to be in. It's a beautiful place to be in. It's the space of oneness, of union, of peace, of safe, of belief, of faith. And the message still wasn't clear when I came around, but as I spoke a little bit about it, it's kind of made it more sense. And I'm sure there's more to come. And every time there's something like this that comes through, I go through on a day-to-day basis a process where my reality starts to show me all these messages that I had before, almost like if I had the teachings, they're then showing me samples through my own connections with people. And that's why it's important as well to, if you feel that you are very in the spiritual world, very connected to the realms, very connected to the dimensions, very connected to the nature energies, to any energies that are hitting the planet, energies about other people. But it's also very important to be grounded in your wake state, to be present in your wake state, because when I'm present is when I learn. When I'm present is when I see the validation of what I'm being shown in a sleep state. When I'm present is when I get the lessons. When I'm not present is when I'm stuck in a wheel, I'm stuck in a cycle, I'm stuck in a pattern. But through the present, I can see the pattern, I can break it, and I can integrate it, and I can change. Almost like immediately as before, it used to take me a whole full moon cycle to realize one little thing, work, suffer through it, work through it, integrate it, make the changes. Next moon, boom, something else. And sometimes something somewhat trauma bonded to this first thing. And I used to ask, why not just give me all at once? I'll work through it. But I needed time. I needed to understand this whole process that took 28 days, sometimes took 2 full moon cycles. Sorry, took a whole month, and then down to a couple of moon cycles, down to 1 moon cycle. And then I was doing in half moon cycles. Then I realized I was doing in a week. Now I'm doing in 1 minute. I see one aspect and it shifted, another aspect and it shifted, another aspect and it shifted, and it's just going. And time, because before it used to take 28 days for something to happen. Now time feels like, because so many things happen in one block of 10 minutes, so many shifts, so many perceptions, so many changes and integrations all at once from multiple perspectives that are bonded together, and then they are dissolved and broken down. But because everything's happening so quickly, so I wouldn't even use the word intense, because it's not intense uncomfortable, but it's intense because it's constant. Time doesn't seem to have, it's like I have no time. It's like 10 minutes for me feels like a week. If you ask me what I did yesterday, I cannot remember anymore, because I went through so many shifts. I'm so many new versions of myself. I don't remember what that old version used to think like or feel like. But the integration is here, and if I'm triggered to talk about it, it just comes on, and I'm able to talk. And in the past, I used to have fear of learning something, integrating, changing, and not being able to share, not being able to recall, not being able to understand that I learned the lesson. But now, even though everything's so quick, I'm learning the lesson, I'm trusting, and I'm believing in this knowledge, in this knowingness, to be able to bring it up when it's needed. And it's coming up when people I'm talking to, I'm connecting to people on the present level, on the presence. I'm very present. These messages come for them. And this connectivity to people's soul is becoming so much easier and clearer. Almost like a bearer of messages, a carrier of messages, as I walk through my day, as I speak to this person, speak to that person. And of course they are, and they also bring me messages as well. It's always reciprocal. I never see just one way, and I do expect a message to come back as well, because I am open to receive. And that's one of the things that we need to learn on the present moment, is that what we give in, we have also something to receive. And if we're not open to receive and just giving, or the other way around, not giving, just trying to receive, the lessons aren't learned in its full, profound depth that it can be learned. And then we end up having to go through a process again to learn more layers of it. So I think, yes, I've had this vision of us really pushing through individually, but collectively, for everyone that was pushing through was helping somebody else push through. And I've been seeing this number 1, 2, 3, 4 for the last 2 weeks, and every time this number has come through, it has shown me this push through. You know, I'm pushing through something, I'm helping somebody else, and that person then is feeling helped by me, but then pushing through something else, and then he's helping somebody else, and it keeps going. It's like an infinite sequence of chain of events, just unraveling from one point to another, because it had an ignition point. So number 1, and then 2 and 3 and 4. But the universe could not present us with signals and signs of infinite numbers, like 1 to infinite. So especially on clocks, we're going to see 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's constant, and it's so synchronized with those moments where I see this chain of events unraveling between one person to another, to another. And I can see that chain going from, I see from coming from someone to me, and from me to someone, from that someone to somebody else, that someone to somebody else. And it's being shown to me. Those people are coming back and showing me, and I'm like, oh my God, it's just, it just showed me the concept of this 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not a number I've ever had come up in synchronicities, but it's definitely a number that's coming up now, and there is a meaning to it. And I'm sure you can find your own meaning to that, each number that you get. For example, if I get a combination of 1 and 4, so it could be 1144, 1114, 4414, whatever combination I get with 1 and 4, these numbers come up to validate me that the situation is being it's happening based on unconditional love from both sides, and I can trust it and I can go full on with it. And it could be work relationship, family relationship, friendship relationship, loving any relationship, parental relationship. When that number comes up, a combination of 1 and 4, for me it represents it's unconditional love, trust. And I could only say that that represents that for me because how it presented itself in all these situations that represented unconditional love. When I get a combination of 3 or 1 and 3, it means that in a connection or any connection that I am involved, usually it'll be a connection with 3 people, like a triad. And one of the 3, doesn't have to be me, but one of the 3 will be a catalyst for those 2 to heal. But there'll be no change to that one. So when I see a 3 and a 1 amplifies this. But when I see a 3, 3, 3, 3, 1, 3, 3, a combination, it's usually that for me because how it happened every time this situation happened. So if you are getting synchronicity numbers, try to see if there's a relationship to your numbers, because your 1-4 combination might appear different in a different situation, in a situation of validation, for example, in a situation of joy. It could be different, so you need to kind of synchronize your signs to what's happening, and find out, because then it doesn't become just a sign, it becomes a prophetic way of seeing the future. For example, it has happened before where I've got the numbers before something happened, and that validated that situation would have been unconditional love. So I went into the situation already trusting, almost like creating your own reality. And it's been mind-blowing, these number synchronicities. I'm diverting a little bit from the message, but it's part of it, because we got to use all these tools that the universe is trying to bring us to push through. And this is the push through. We need to push through, because by pushing through for ourselves, we'll be helping others without even realizing. I've seen people heal themselves and that reverberate on other people immediately through timelines, through the energy field, and making changes to the other person. This person didn't have to say a word. And I see this happening all the time when I heal, and the people around me, they are all getting this bit of healing. They're all getting this bit of backlash healing from one person healing. And never mind when they heal, I get it as well. So we have to understand this congruency between everyone. And then that goes if you are in low densities, negative thoughts to positive thoughts. It doesn't matter. It's there. And learning to make use of it can amplify your healing, can amplify the healing between you and others around you, without going out of your way to assist, without going out of your way to do things for people. Energy is so incredible in a way, because when you know where to go to have a chat, you simply know, and you know after that chat you're going to feel better. That's healing, nothing else. It's a healing. That person that you went to doesn't have to be spiritual minded. It doesn't have to understand about the universe laws. It doesn't have to understand about energy healing. That person just needs to be present with you present with them, and allow the reciprocity of exchanges to happen in a quantum field while you're down here connecting connecting in presence. And that's the pushing through. It's opening up your heart to those that you can trust to open up your heart, to those that you can trust will be there to listen, to offer the safe space for you. Perhaps you could start just here. You need to talk, you need to find that person that you can relate to in that sense. And each topic might be a different person you go to, and be open for that. And that is part of pushing through to get ignited into this 1, 2, 3, 4 healing process that is being presented to us, for the energies to work with us, for the universe to just cut off your fears and allow you to just go through these processes more often, more frequently, for your own inner healing. And I think there was definitely union within myself with the divine for that moment in time. And I'm very grateful for having this experience today, and I feel and I feel called to share more of these profound, I don't know how to call it, energetic experience that just happens, because I am learning so much, and I come here and I share what I learn, but I don't share where it comes from. And I wonder if that's something that could benefit others. You know, I'm thinking of that reciprocity, that 1, 2, 3, 4, that pushing through, you know. So I'll leave you here with love and light, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you.